Good afternoon, everybody. It's 3:34 p.m. on June the 5th. Call the Kent County Administrative Charging Committee to order. Remember, everything that pertains to complaints is held in a strict confidential matter. Follow Robert's Rules of Order and the Open Meetings Act. Everybody take a look at the minutes from last month, or last.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Can I have a motion to accept them?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Old business. Everybody's gotten their laptops with county email for, to review the ACC cases. Any issues with any of the computers?
No.
I haven't had any.
Okay. Moving on, ACC rules. Well, I tell you, ACC rules and procedures updates.
Maybe that's me responsible for that. I think after having considered one matter, we have some suggestions to make in terms of things that we can do to make the rules better, procedures better.
Chief.
And I think that that's just a matter of drafting and circulating by email and coming up with a final product. And I'm happy to take the pen on that and see if I can shepherd those changes through.
Perfect. I do want to, I'm going to kind of go out of order here because I want to free up these guys here so they're not sitting here. I'm going to let Shelley discuss this about the change for the wording so we get in parallel.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm talking
Sure.
about?
Yes.
So I just want these guys to hear it, see if they can have any input. So-
Okay. You're sustained versus not sustained. Okay, so the wording of sustained versus not sustained isn't in any of the Maryland code or in Comar. The wording they use is exonerated or unfounded with definition. So when the ACC deliberates and makes the decision, they have to make a decision, is the person going to be administratively charged or not administratively charged? And if they're not if our recommendation is they're not administratively charged, then we may rule that the charges were unfounded or the person is exonerated. So our terminology coming back to the law enforcement agencies is going to state that, and we'll make sure that, the definitions are in there in case you're not clear. And unfounded it's basically the complaint's not based on facts. Exonerated, the law enforcement officer followed the rules and policy of their agency. So we are going to be, right now, that is what is in all of the paperwork. The other two ACC members believe that it would be beneficial in our case, like other counties, including PG and Anne Arundel, who have added a third option. Instead of just exonerated and unfounded, you can put in there sustained or not sustained. So it gives more opportunity to accurately address the complaints. So that will be coming in the future, but it might take us, a month or two to get that in because we have to go back to the county commissioners and have them modify the resolution for all of this. So if you have anything coming back to your agencies within the next month or two, you're going to see that terminology from us. So it may not match if you're putting sustained or not sustained. You still do whatever you want to do, just understand in the beginning, we're only going to have those options coming back for you.
So if you do find that it's a violation, what do you say? What do you?
Well, we'll just find that it is a violation, and here's the recommended punishment based on the matrix.
Okay.
If no charges are recommended, then we move forward with exonerate or unfound.
Okay.
And in the future, we'll also have number 3, which could be not sustained.
So you're not asking us to reciprocate the wording at this point, you're just saying that that's what you would, that what we would expect to hear back from you?
Yes.
I think our only point was, do what you gotta do in terms of your internal investigation, use your vocabulary, but we're constrained by what we can put in our report, if you wanna put it that way.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I know in a recent meeting I was in, one of the assistant attorney generals was saying that, whatever you guys say, sustain, unsustain, founded, unfounded, whatever, whatever the wording that you use. So it made it sound like that it's done differently, different places. Yeah, having same meetings, understanding the meetings, but different agencies say it differently, And honestly, unless you've been involved in internal investigations, you usually don't even use any of that terminology. And one would guess that as you continue to progress, more of a plain language would be a little bit more suitable, but, I guess sometimes we try to be technical in ways, but that's the wording that we've used under LEOBR for years, and that's kind of what we're used to.
There's nothing wrong with it,
This will give us a little more flexibility too.
if we can get the commissioners to change it.
But we'll be fine tuning as we go along, because this is first for everybody, so
Sure, yep.
we'll be making changes along the way,
Absolutely.
adjustments.
And one of the comments that they made that it made total sense to me, LEOBR was passed back in the 70s. And although some of us were still starting to work police work in the 70s,
Why you gotta do that?
sorry, kicking my neck there. As they suggested, they said, I'm sure there was a lot of things that were not completely understood, and it took years to be able to understand and, exactly how things would work, be more of a fine-tuned machine. So at this point, you're seeing different jurisdictions doing things differently, but one would hope as time progresses that we all have a little bit more standardization of things, and they're thinking that's probably very similar to what happened with LEOBR.
One of the other things too was, we would like to see that the 3 of you notify the PAB after we send it back to you, that whether it was accepted or trial board was requested. So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just a disposition back
Yeah.
through the normal channels to,
Yeah,
We can do that.
yep, just for our records.
absolutely.
Anybody have anything for the chiefs or the sheriff before?
Sorry?
Anybody have anything for the sheriff or the
No,
chiefs?
no.
That was it, guys. That was, the main part was just that verbiage thing, and we'll go back to our normal meeting stuff, so.
Sounds good.
If
We
I see the
appreciate you
guy with the
including
red
us in on
Corvette,
it.
I'll have a chat with him.
Yeah, what'd you do?
Seriously, I don't want you guys to have,
shifted.
I don't
All
want
those
you to
guys
have
passed me
any.
this afternoon.
Sorry?
One of
I was
those,
going
a red
like
Corvette with a
55.
big stripe on it, you can't
Yeah.
miss it, yeah. He usually does 6 or 7 cars at a time. We excuse me.
Yes.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you very much.
We will continue our meeting. I just, we're gonna get them out of here.
Appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
And we do the same for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all for letting me go out of order with these guys.
Absolutely.
Just,
Yeah.
they don't need to sit right here for
Yeah.
all of it.
No problem.
We talked about the ACC rules, procedures updates, case decision form.
So the
Sure.
case decision form, basically, once real life happened and a case came through, then we worked through the format of what our report will end up looking like. And every one of them is gonna be similar in that it's gonna follow the same structure of the categories that we're reporting on. Excuse me, but, I think that keeping it simple and concise with just those headings and then personalizing it as other cases come in that we don't know what's gonna be on them yet. Right now, we just have a very basic format and that's how it's gonna remain.
Are you talking about like maybe creating like a PDF file and just fill in the blanks, or just? we have a format and it's just the way it is.
Right now, I mean, that could happen, but right now, a Word document suffices the same
Okay.
for that. Even for me, as a user, I have more flexibility with that than a fill-in, or, populate as you go PDF form. So we're just gonna stick with that for now.
Everybody get a copy of the confidentiality agreement if you wanted it?
Yeah.
Okay. I would like to make a motion that we accept, or somewhat, we need to select a deputy chair, co-chair. Deputy
Chair?
chair
Right, not co.
for the ACC. Would anybody like a, would
I
would anybody
nominate
like a
Gary.
motion?
I would like to nominate.
I second that nomination.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Even if elected, I'm not, no. That's fine.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Anybody have any recruitment ideas for ACC?
I've kind of got a small population to choose from. I haven't had any success. I'll keep trying,
I've got an idea.
yeah.
So it would create more work, I think, but it wasn't just my ideas. Somebody put a bird in my ear, but we have a lady that's the civilian for trial boards that's appointed. And she went to the 2-day training class for her requirement. But she might be a good option.
Can you
She's
have both?
No,
No,
she would have to drop that, and we would have to find somebody else. But she comes to the meetings, she's, taking that 2-day class, she's like real serious about this, like, in a good way.
What kind of background does she have?
She worked, retail pretty much her whole life. She was a area district manager or something like that along the way.
Do we have to have a civilian? Is that the,
Yes.
oh,
that's the
okay,
term.
Yeah,
On
okay.
purpose.
yeah.
Big,
Now,
are two of us civilians technically on the,
no,
no, okay.
no.
No, that's.
For the trial board?
No, on the ACC.
ACC.
No,
Well-
two are appointed by the commissioners and two are appointed by the PAD.
Right.
Got it.
But we haven't gotten the two for, well, we do, we have. I see what you're saying, yes.
I don't. Which one of us was appointed by, so do we need another one appointed by the commissioners
There is
or
another
PAB?
one. No, you already have
Okay.
one. He's just not active.
Okay, so, okay.
Let me refer to your appointment letters.
We know who we're talking about, right?
Yeah, not by name for me, but I know what you're
Okay.
talking about.
Yeah. Because my guess is coming off the ACC,
Yeah,
just because he can't go to the training and I don't think it's helped us.
got it, yeah.
And we need someone that can be
So,
actively involved.
Gary and Seb, you were appointed by the commissioners. Shelley, you were appointed by PAB, and so was the fifth person, the other person. PAB just received an interest notice from someone. So about that's a.
Would it create a big conflict too, if we were to move Lisa over?
Not until you have a trial board.
I-
I mean, it's a commissioner appointment versus police accountability. I'd have to ask.
Well, if she's replacing someone that was a PAB appointment,
Correct.
that would be fine, correct?
Presumably, but I don't want to answer for the commissioners.
Okay. So that's just something to think about, but,
What you need to do is figure out whether she would be interested or not first, before we ask the question.
yeah. Well, and it doesn't even have to be her, I'm just throwing that out as an idea too. Because we don't have a lot to choose from.
I think it's vital that ACC membership is robust and involved, engaged, not just there. And she seems to have been, but we don't know her level of interest. And it would probably not be as difficult to recruit someone for a 2-day training required by trial board
100%.
members than 5 days. So I'm not sure what you're looking for here, but I support that thought.
Yeah, I mean, I can talk to her, Pete or Frank, somebody can talk to her and see if she would have an interest in it. I know the answer, she does want to do it.
I think then you're changing the recruiting a little for this is a trial board.
Going forward,
How long was she on the trial
Well,
board?
you can't, right now, you have a council, you have a quorum. And by law, you have a trial board member. You can't move her, creating a vacancy there, you see what I'm saying?
no. I mean, if she wants to do it, and we have the opening on the ACC, I know you're saying we have a quorum, but I think the ACC is going to be a lot, starting to be a little bit more active as these cases are coming in.
I don't disagree. The law says you will have a civilian member on the trial board, and you have one. You can't pull them to fill up more an already full or quorum full ACC.
So a way to work with that would be to actively try to find someone for the trial board who
Correct.
wants to get in there, and then once that's done, if she is interested, well, you would need to know that beforehand before you try to replace her, but have someone to fill that spot at the trial board right away. But even so, she has to have the 5-day training.
Correct.
And I'm not sure when another one of those is being held.
Hopefully in November.
Okay.
Unless they cancel it again.
Yeah.
So then if that's the case, while she could still be on the ACC and be part of the deliberation, she can't vote.
I see the important part of, we need to keep her on where she's at until we can recruit another member for that position. And then we can address the ACC. I see that, because there's a lot of what-ifs. So I think that the goal is to fill that, believe it or not, fill that other position. No one on the board wants to come over to the ACC that's actively on the board. The two people that I thought would want to, or would think about it, won't do it.
Because of the 5-day training.
I just thought of somebody, make a note to myself to contact them.
Talk to them. Did you want to add anything else, Pete?
No, the only thing that I would say for the future is that if you want to explore charging wording changes to be consistent with what King County Police Departments are doing, that would be a valid reason for asking to amend or change the charter. Right now, I mean, if they're okay, if you're okay, even though it's foreign wording for all of us, there's really, just following Talbot and Prince George's County isn't a good reason. Even though I agree with it, because that's police thinking. But again, and it would be a conversation with the sheriff or two chiefs, look, what is your terminology? We want ours to be the same. And that would be a reason worth going to the commissioners for.
Well, but I kind of think that's why we're here. Well,
You're not, because you just explained it and they said, well, okay.
I think they would adapt to us, but is that the goal?
no, what, maybe I'm confused. The sheriff used a term, not sustained,
Correct.
that we might have or might not have agreed with in the performance of our duties. And then we find out that the county charter, or that whatever we're calling this resolution,
It's a resolution.
that they don't use that termination.
Neither does state law.
I don't think we were asking them to change, it's just that we want to get this changed to match that.
That's-
That's
that
what
not
he,
what-
that's,
We're talking about the same thing.
Okay,
if I understand correctly, it would, before we move forward with that, it would be beneficial just to have a discussion one-on-one or whatever with the chair and each of those law enforcement officers. Is that the wording that you actually use, sustain, not sustain, as the sheriff mentioned? And would that be beneficial to you for us to have this in here? If they don't feel it is, then we don't need to go through all this legwork. However, the ACC membership, the majority of that membership feels value for
That third term.
that third term for Kent County as a whole.
That's what I thought.
That, without question.
And that's the, if I'm not mistaken here, that's the purpose of these every 3 months meeting with them, is to discuss policy changes and procedural changes that help both the PAB, ACC, and the law enforcement agency. That's part of what's supposed to happen after you've reviewed some cases. The PAB, I believe, is supposed to find the causes, what's causing these complaints, and talk to them about that. You guys more so, as far as the policy violations, what can we do? And make suggestions back and forth. That's kind of the reason that they're supposed to be at these every 3 month meetings.
yeah, I get that, I was confused because we're trying to use the wording that they want to use, but you were saying bringing up another county.
No. So you have to use the wording that is in the Kent County statute. And that's.
It's those two terms.
exonerated.
Yep.
So we want to change that.
Right, so, but you just explained to the sheriff and the chiefs that this is the wording that we're using, and they were okay with it. But what I am telling you is that if the ACC wants to proceed with getting that third term, you go back to the chiefs and say, what terminology do you use? You're best posed with the sheriff's department because they're COLIA certified. And normally, the other two follow suit. So they agree, they'll deal with it, but there could be a better arrangement that would help them and help the ACC.
Right.
We included reference to the counties because we thought that would help carry weight to our decision on that issue. The commissioners say, if they don't know about that, they might say, well, gee, I don't know, we shouldn't fool around with things, but, well, these two counties have done it and it's successful, they'll be less inclined to say no. That's how I would look at it from a political standpoint.
Anybody have anything good for the order?
Yes. So part of the laws are that the ACC has to develop a schedule of how they're going to review cases. And I know that we're still in the draft of our rules of procedures. But when it comes to that part, I need us to think about it because we are, even if there's, a case or two coming in, we're still very light in that workload. And I'm not so sure that trying to set a rigid schedule is going to be beneficial. So as we're figuring all this out, let's just keep it in the back of our minds. So like we have, for the record, we have said that we've worked together with our schedule and said if there is a steady flow or cases that are on the books, we know, which afternoon of which day we can get the room reserved for the deliberations. But I just think it's important to know in the beginning, especially with us, that, because of course we're special, that we need flexibility with that. But I hope that by the next meeting, we'll be having a motion to approve our rules of procedures that we'll be working on. So at least we'll have that, and that it will include many more details that are pertinent for this county.
Okay. Or you suggesting maybe like having a set date?
So earlier today, we talked about that, and we didn't make a decision on it. We made a decision of what that would look like for next week, if we were to have another case in front of us for next week. So that's a tentative date and time, but as far as making it, like, for example, and every Thursday at 3 o'clock, we're not there yet, so we're not gonna do that, and that won't be in writing. If anything, our wording will have, the word as needed or flexible as appropriate, those types of things. But we do realize time is of the essence for everyone in this. That's all I
Anything
have.
else?
That's all I have.
No, that's all.
Frank, anything? Pete, anything? Okay. Take a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Is your meeting going to be on the 8th as well?
Yes.
Oh,
You catch that?
No.
July 3rd is a Wednesday. There's a lot, we wouldn't have a quorum for the PAB. So we pushed it to, we wanted to do the 10th, but the room's not available, so we're going to do it on the 8th, which is a Monday.
Monday.
Monday after the
Is
weekend.
that good with you guys?
And
July
Monday
8th.
the 8th at 3:30?
3:30, yes, it is for me.